plaintiff, Myra Andrews, says the defendant, who is her son, resents her because she was a crack addict throughout his childhood. Myra claims she quit using after her addiction caused her to have a stroke, and she's suing her son today for the balance due on 3 loans. Defendant D'Angelo Eaton says when he was a child, Myra would leave him and his siblings home alone for days at a time, and they had to call relatives to bring them food. D'Angelo's countersuing his mother for emotional distress.
All rise. This court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Greg Mathis presiding. You may now be seated.
Start with you.
D'Angelo is my son, whom I love and I adore. However, D'Angelo seems to have issues and resentments with me for his childhood. D'Angelo's father was locked up from the time of conception to 13. I myself was a crack addict from the age when he was around 1 until 7.5 years ago, in which October the 3rd of 2011, I had a stroke. And at that time, I could not walk and I could not talk. I went to RIM in Detroit and got myself together, and I started going to meetings. And since then, I've tried to make amends to all my children, not just D'Angelo.
You still go to meetings?
Yes, sir.
Where?
I go all over the west side of Detroit. So going to meetings and finding out about my addiction and myself, I try to make amends to D'Angelo any way possible, all my children.
Okay, let me hear from you. Give me some background on your relationship with your mom.
That's my mother. I love her to death. But when I was young, she was crackhead.
From what age?
From early as I can remember, like 1, 2, 3 years old.
Until when?
30, yeah, like 25, 26. And she used to smoke crack, leave me at home by myself, fending for my siblings and things like that.
What neighborhood?
West Warren neighborhood.
And what?
Warren, Illinois area.
Okay.
And she would leave us at home by herself for days at a time. I would have to call my auntie or my grandfather, her dad, and they would come, bring us food.
That is one of the most dangerous areas in America. You can look it up, folks. Illinois, Joy Road, Illinois, Warren area. I spent some time growing up in Illinois and Joy Road, specifically on Prairie at Joy Road.
Oh, yeah.
Street.
Yeah, you know.
So I know what it's like. It's listed as one of the most dangerous in America. So I know what you come from, and I know what the deal is over there, and I'm sorry to hear that you went through that, like so many others. In fact, we lost 2 generations. We lost your generation to crack, and then we lost the children who were affected by crack. Many of them, most of them, went into foster care, or they were taken care of by the grandparent who was up in age and did not have the skills or the capability or the resources to properly deal with a young grandchild. And so I'm just hopeful that and hoping that they don't allow the same to happen with the opioid epidemic. That's 2 generations. It's not just the person who's the addict, it's the child who's been neglected. But nonetheless, that's a tragedy that you didn't have your mother, that crack had her instead of you.
Absolutely.
That's certainly a tragedy. And hats off to you. You seem to be pretty well-adjusted young man. Did you finish high school?
No, I had a village, though. It was a village that helped her out.
Okay. Why didn't you finish high school? Did you start?
Yeah, I started.
Where?
I went to Cooley High. I don't know. My mom was heavy into her addiction, a bunch of behavioral
How old
issues.
are you now?
Because I'm 33.
What do you do now?
I work
Where?
part-time. I got a little temp job right now.
Okay. What have you done since high school, since you dropped out? What type of work have you done?
I did a lot of stuff, automotive. I was working.
Don't you think you need some type of skill to have a permanent job?
Yeah.
That's going to allow you to take care of yourself, and perhaps if you have a family, do you have children?
Yeah, I got 3 boys.
3 boys? All right, sir. You're going to have to do a lot better. You should have gotten your diploma or GED by now. You're 33 years old, and a skill, a lasting skill, not working temporary jobs. So that's my advice to you, is to catch up on your skill level so that you can support those 3 children that you have. Go down to Wayne County Community College, and they have programs where you can get a GED and a skill at the same time. Some of them are 12 months. Some of them, I think they have 9-month programs. But the point is, you'll have a skill, a marketable skill, because otherwise you're not going to be able to support your 3 children very well on a temp job, part-time, as you said. So what are you suing them about today?
I'm suing
the loans.
Well, in April of 18, when he acted a fool, he ended up going to jail. So he went to jail, and I loaned him $500. And then in February of 2018, because I want to go back to my using and what happened, of course, I feel bad. I feel bad, but I can't be held to my past. I'm the best grandmother. There's nothing, my grandkids don't know nothing about abandonmentship. They don't know nothing about grandma saying she gonna do something and don't do it. And that's the only way I can make amends, because I can't do nothing about what happened.
In the past.
I cannot do nothing, and I'm working on it.
But you can redeem yourself.
Yes, I'm trying to redeem myself, and it's hard to forgive myself, because at the time of using drugs, it takes over your whole body and being. And, you know, I didn't think I was harming my children, and I later found out. However, you know, again, I try to make amends. I overcompensate. So in February 18, got my little taxes. You know, what do you need? You need your license.
Well, let me just say, I applaud you for that, because most recovering drug addicts, they don't feel that they have any responsibility to the people they've hurt or abandoned. Yeah. They just think, I'm clean, so my life is fine. But what about all the people's lives you damaged?
Yes.
And now you're clean and you're great, but what's wrong with them? The same people you damaged, you want to know why, what's wrong with them. Yeah, they've been damaged by you. Yeah. So I applaud you for taking responsibility and acknowledging and knowing that you have some redemption to do with the people that you've harmed, and that you're doing it, even as much as overcompensating. So thank God for folks like you. I wish a lot of other recovering addicts would have that same attitude, as opposed to, I'm clean, thank God for me. yeah, that's cute. What about us?
Yeah, right.
That you've damaged. All right, so you loaned him money again.
In February of 18, I had gotten my taxes. Again, I'm trying to help him get himself together. And let me go back to, I've suggested to D'Angelo, because I myself went into therapy, because sometimes you need more than the meat.
Absolutely.
You know, and I've suggested, I've even looked up a therapist for him to talk to. I mean, because again, I can't help you, you know.
He does need therapy, you're right.
Yes, so anyway, February 18, I get my taxes. I'm going to help you get your license. Well, I loan him $700 to get his license. Never put the money on there, never do anything. And then we go to June of 2017. He called me one day. Hey, Ma, his girl's uncle had a car for sale. He needs a car, okay, $200. So I just pull up on him, and I give him the $200. I look at the car, nice car, all that. Talk to the guy, and he don't get the car. Even though I don't have a promissory note for that, but I do for the other 2 loans. And D'Angelo remembers that.
Okay, and what was the agreement on repayment, though?
Oh, when I start working, you know, it's always when I
How much have you received from all these loans?
He gave me $150, and that's what brings the total to $1,250.
Sir, let me hear from you on the loans.
She did. I feel like they were gifts. My mother, first of all, and then I was gonna pay her. I did start about to pay her back on the $700 for the tickets. Then she started hounding me and coming over and keep pressing me about the money, like I'm working, like I ain't got a family. So I started holding back and letting her know like I wasn't gonna pay her, because I felt like,
because she was asking for her money.
Yeah, and she was hounding
I'm not
me.
gonna pay you. If you don't ask for your money, I'm thinking you forgot. So I'm definitely not gonna pay you.
I had started paying her, Your Honor. I started paying her, but then, like I said, she kept hounding me, then I had started recollecting my childhood. So I felt like,
call it even.
yeah, let's call it even.
How far are you gonna go with that?
I'm done.
Huh?
I'm done.
Oh, okay. You're
all
not gonna
clear.
come for the house or her
But
car?
see, that's another thing. No.
Or jewelry or any of that, and say this is mine based on what you did to me, based on
I'm
your
not-
neglect and abandonment.
No.
She did neglect and abandon you without a doubt. She chose crack over you. But you know, you can't hang on to that, and if you can't reconcile it within yourself, you might need some counseling of some sort. Nothing wrong with that either. But you can't keep, as he says, overcompensating, as it sounds like he wants you to. At some point, this becomes a scam, sir.
No, listen.
Yes, it does.
She be
Yeah.
boosted.
Give me $500. Well, I don't have it, honey. You left me when you was getting high.
No, she be offering a lot.
5 years from now. Mama, I need 10,000. No, I don't have no 10. Yes, you did. You left me. I saw you smoking crack. Okay, here, honey. How long you gonna play that?
I'm done with it after
What's
this.
your counterclaim for? Emotional distress. How does she owe you for that?
Bills. She had bills in my name when I was young. Utility bills and stuff
you
like
go.
that. So when I got older, it was hard.
Did it hurt your credit?
Yeah,
Okay. When did you discover it?
like 20, 21.
And you're 33 now?
Yeah.
Statute of limitation has expired.
Did it? When?
See, they teach those minor things in law at school.
Okay.
All right, sir. So I'm going to have to dismiss your claim. And you do have some evidence of some
Yes, sir.
sort?
Yes,
Because he believes they were gifts. You
Okay,
say
this
you have
is
some
the
evidence.
promissory note where I loaned him
Because,
the
sir, you said
$700
you were
and he
paying
signed
it off, but then you thought about it.
That's the $700.
And then, Your Honor, I also, because when I loaned D'Angelo that $500, I actually borrowed it from my sister, and here's her note, our promissory note.
Why didn't you get him to sign a promissory note for the $500 then?
Because he was locked up.
Okay.
Right, he was locked up. And then I also have, where my sister, who loves you, she had wrote a letter stating that I am clean and that I do try to overcompensate,
Good.
and that she was there when I paid that $500.
Well, I wish my folks would try to overcompensate the ones that cost me so much during their crack addictions. They act like ain't nothing ever happened. I'm still suffering. All right, sir, you, I believe, think that, as you stated, she owes you still, and therefore any money she gives you should not be considered any type of loan. You'll sign the papers or whatever else, but then you'll think about it later, as you said you do, and you say,
And
no,
say,
we even.
We got. I got siblings that she, loan stuff to and don't ask for it back either. So that's why I felt like.
Okay.
Well, Your Honor, let me speak on that. I have two other children. My middle son, I'm not even going to say it. He don't ask to borrow my money. If he say, Mom, let me get $100, I say, I don't have it. I can loan it to you. He say, that's okay. And he tells me intentionally, he said, that's why I don't borrow money from you. You can't say I owe you nothing. I ask you to give it to me. That's A. Then my daughter, who is the baby, the only time that she's working now, she worked in, when I would help her, she was in Houston, Texas, and she lost her job. During my drug addiction, the father thing is non-existent. And so, naturally, I had to help her. No, there was no one else to help her. And no, I did not loan it to her because I had to make sure she was okay.
All right, so you're
Yeah, they
giving
don't
the
borrow.
others.
They don't borrow. It's a difference between give and loan.
That's why he thinks a couple of the things you did were gifts.
You
He
don't
said you
think it's a
give to the
difference?
other ones, he assumed you're giving to him.
But he say loan.
That's a good assumption. The only document I see is the $700 he signed. So that's all I'm gonna make him stick to. The other ones you did him like you did the other kids, I believe, as he says. 700 is your judgment. So your counterclaim is dismissed.
Okay. I'm not angry with my son. I love my son dearly. And I apologize for my behaviors and what I did when I was using, but I tried today to be the best mom.
Absolutely, and I love my mother to death. No hard feelings at
No
all.
hard feelings.